Am I the only one that's happy Francis Ngannou's finally out of the UFC? For 2 years, all he's done is complain, fight once every 13 months, moan, and just... But was it such a bad smell when it came to the heavyweight division and how it was functioning? Like, genuinely, I feel like now that he's gone, the division will actually have title fights. Because I feel like the heavyweight division... Ever since the light heavyweight division has been having title fights more often, thanks to Yuri and Glover and stuff. A 42-year-old man, by the way. 43 now, even. I just like now, I finally think we'll have that excitement of, Aspinall could fight for a title soon. Jones is coming back fighting for a title. Ciryl Gane, fighting for the title again, after a very controversial decision he had against Francis Ngannou. And it's like, there's that excitement of we could see fights now, rather than before it was like, oh, what are we going to do? We still have Francis in the mix. We still have Francis figuring out what's next for him. And it's just like, you don't pick fights with the UFC because you're not going to win those fights unless you have a solid case, solid argument, and you're obviously a superstar. His last pay-per-view sold 200,000 buys. The heavyweight championship of the world, the baddest man on the planet, who he's claiming is a superstar. He thinks himself as a superstar, and he should be getting paid 15 million a fight. Brother, you are a big, scary man, and that's exciting. You're a powerful man. I was going to say the C word there, but I'm a bit early in the video to start swearing for just to see if I don't want to get shadow banned, okay? I truly don't care. I thought Francis Ngannou was a scary, tough individual, but he was boring. Like, he had no salt to him. He had no pepper to him. It was just this man, and he was a bit weird, I thought. He would always go on for his love of children and stuff in the embedded with, like, Ciryl Gane, or maybe it was the fight before that, in the woods, in the park, playing with kids. I'm not trying to say, like, he's a weirdo or anything, but I just didn't like him. I just didn't really like him that much. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, like, I'm sure he's a lovely individual, but I just feel like when he came out on, like, True Geordie's podcast speaking about the UFC and stuff, I was like, that is the complete wrong move to make. That's the complete worst thing you could have done in this scenario. You should have, behind closed doors, said to the UFC, this is what I think I'm worth. I want this much money. That's what you have to do. Now listen to this. Sean O'Malley asked the UFC for a certain amount of money, and they said, no, we're not going to give you this. We'll give you this figure. And O'Malley accepted it. He said, it's not what I wanted, but it's close to it. It's. They gave their argument, they gave their points, and it was reasonable. O'Malley's a character. He's got a goofy personality, and he's a funny, jokey bantamweight who hasn't really had a boring fight in the UFC other than the Pedro Munoz fight, which was just, I don't really class that as a competition because it's just a weird fight in general. And it put a bitter taste in my mouth towards not really O'Malley or Munoz, just like that fight was just a bit of a bitter sweet fight. It was like, okay, he didn't really live up to the hype. Why am I talking about O'Malley? I do this in every video. I just absolutely love the guy. Speaking of, I'm actually wearing his hoodie. That's actually really embarrassing. Jones versus Gane, perfect fight to make. People were like, oh, you should have given someone else the opportunity, not Gane. He's just had a title shot. The best way to market this fight, my opinion, Ciryl Gane, razor close decision with Francis, then came back and beat Tuivasa with a dominant performance after coming through like hell from being hurt. Perfect way to market it. Controversial decision. Gane could be the best in the world, and if Jones beats Gane convincingly and finishes Gane, if Jones finishes Ciryl Gane, the narrative will be, oh, Ngannou couldn't do that, so Jones would have beaten Ngannou. That's what the casual fans will think. I'm just saying, Ngannou is going to go maybe fight PFL. There was Bare Knuckle FC tweeted at him. This is the thing with me. I won't know Ngannou's fighting, and I'm sure it'll be up on like ESPN or like something like this that I follow, and then it'll be like $29.99 Ngannou versus do Bare Knuckle FC main event, baddest man on the planet, or like scariest man on the planet, and it's like, Okay, that's cool. I'll find out the next morning on Twitter or on Instagram. I'll find out the results. I'll just quickly Google the result. I'm not going to be buying a pay-per-view. They don't have the production value of the UFC, and we know he's not going to be fighting the best guys. We know it's not really going to be interesting. If he goes to Bellator, who the fuck's he going to fight? Ryan Bader? Corey Anderson? I guess he's light heavyweight. You know what? It doesn't matter. He's not a superstar, but he has that level of name value to where he will make headlines if he knocks someone out. But the issue is it's going to be an unknown fighter. It won't be like a... Yeah, and Dana White said he was getting more money than any other heavyweight in UFC history, including Brock Lesnar. And I think Brock Lesnar got like $2 million a fight or something like that. So I'd imagine they offered Francis... I'm going to say $2 million to show, and maybe $1.5 million to win, something like that. They probably offered him $3.5 million with 10% of the pay-per-view buys on the card. You know, and Ngannou wants to go somewhere else and make more money than that. I don't think he's going to be making $5 million a fight, $15 million a fight anywhere else. And he wouldn't in the UFC, maybe not, because he's not a superstar. But that's my point. He's not a superstar. An organization might pay him that once. $5 million in Ngannou. Bare Knuckle FC will give you $5 million to show. Okay, $5 million. That's your flat fee. $5 million, or maybe $5 million to box. Then the card will be like, oh, we're barely breaking even here. We're barely turning over a profit. Okay, Ngannou, we're gonna have to. We can't give you that again. Then what's he gonna do? Go on True Geordie's podcast and just slate Bare Knuckle FC? Like, what? You know what I mean? That can't happen. Like, he can't just be. His career is gone now. You know, his career at this stage, that just can't happen. And it's like, this is the thing about UFC fighter pay, right? It's fine. I think it should be 15 and 15, flat fee, not 11 and 11 or 10 and 10 or 12 and 12, right? 15 and 15 should be the fee. 15,000 if you show up, 15,000 if you win. Perfect. Plus, you also have the chance of getting a spectacular knockout and getting $50,000 on top of that. The flat fee of 12 and 12 is okay, but when you pay coaches, pay for your camp, pay travel and stuff, you're really probably only getting around, I'd honestly say, if you're making 24,000, you're probably only getting like 18,000. But that's maybe not even true. Are you paying 6,000 to your coaches, or how much are you paying your coaches? How much are you spending on your camp and recovery and stuff? If you're putting loads of money into it to get the best results, you're going to go out there and get that bonus. I might make a whole separate video on fighter pay. The UFC has it correct. Boxing is fucking shit now. Boxing is full of privileged, spoiled little cunts that think they are worth something. Brother, you're making 40 million to show up and fight. Canelo Alvarez is a unicorn of human. He makes 40 million, 50 million, 60 million, and he still comes back and fights. The same with Floyd Mayweather. Legacy is so powerful, but these prize fighters that make 30 million then fight every 13 months is like, that's what the UFC is good at. Fighters fight 3 times a year, 4 times a year. Kevin Holland fought 5 times in 1 year. Expired his contract and got a better contract because he was fighting so much and he was making money. You know, fighters have been saying it. Why not hop in there one more time and make money? That's like Chito Vera. Chito Vera saying, I've got money. I'm not going to sit out though and wait for a title shot. Why not fight 2 more times and get paid 2 more times? Improving your record, improving your star quality, your value within the company. If you play along with the UFC, they will push you to be a star. They will push you into the stratosphere of maybe more mainstream. That's just what happens. You have to play their game, but you also have to be worth something to them. And Ngannou's not. I'm sorry. Ngannou is nothing. Yeah, he's a big, scary individual, but he's also very soft. You know, there's kind of that mystique about him. Like, he just needs one punch. But then it's also like, he's beatable. He's so beatable. And he doesn't actually have... this is going to piss everybody off. He doesn't really have that killer instinct, in my opinion. He's not. Yes, his story is great. He's been through hardship. He's been through this and that. But it's like, it's turned him into a whiny fucking brat who thinks he's worth more than he is. Have a personality. Throw a chair at someone. Shout at someone. Flip a table. Walk into a room and just fucking get angry at everyone. Do something to make me like, oh my fucking god, I want this guy to get knocked out. I'm going to buy this pay-per-view to watch him die. No one cares. The UFC doesn't care. Okay, buy Ngannou, you whiny brat. You know what I mean? You barely beat Ciryl Gane. You know, and he's going to have a really good fight against John Jones, I think. And I think Jones will maybe beat him. Everybody loves Ciryl Gane, in my opinion. Bye-bye Francis Ngannou. This is the last video I will ever make on him. The first and only video I'm probably going to ever make on him. His career is done now because no one will speak about him ever again. Give it 3 months. Who's Francis Ngannou, Mum? Just some guy we used to watch on TV, son. He could have literally reigned at heavyweight and been this destroyer at heavyweight. And actually, regardless of being a superstar or not, been a GOAT. Been regarded as an individual that went through hardship, and he was fought once a year maybe, but then he came back and he fought 3 times a year. The title was, people were challenging him. Aspinall versus Ngannou. Aspinall beats him by decision. But very close, razor close fight. Ngannou dropped him multiple times. Rematch, trilogy. Big fights. But you can't put Ngannou at the top of a UFC card because he doesn't sell. He's the biggest, baddest man on the planet, doesn't sell. Jones versus Gane. That's a main event. That's a Jones versus Gane. You were like, oh my god, John Jones. Fucking hell, I wonder how he's going to look at heavyweight. And Ciryl Gane, a monster, like a good stuff, technical guy. Followed with Cejudo and O'Malley. Usman Edwards 3. We don't need Francis Ngannou.